Next, we will hear from Marcia Davis-Cannon. Marcia is a 21-year breast cancer survivor. She loves to dance, even though it has mostly been around her living room with the rug rolled up lately. Marcia is a career transition coach and helps people get clarity in identifying and landing work that fits their interests and purpose. She also volunteers with CAM, a ministry for job seekers, her Toastmasters public speaking club, and several local theater companies. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Marcia Davis-Cannon.
When I got my diagnosis of breast cancer in 2000, I had already lost my father to cancer, and my mom was terminal and would pass within the year. In fact, learning that she had less than 2 years to live made me question my high-pressure job and the stress-filled life I was living. If I had 2 years to live, I asked myself, is this how I'd live it? The answer was no. I resigned from my job and started taking better care of myself. I got my first physical exam in 20 years. The doctor gave me a referral for a colonoscopy and a mammogram. The colonoscopy revealed precancerous polyps that were removed on the spot. I thought, this is the reason I left work. Then I got my mammogram. The same afternoon, I was referred to a surgeon. He took a core biopsy, but did not get cancer in that sample. Don't get too excited, he said. It just means we didn't hit the right spot. He scheduled a wire-guided surgical biopsy. He inserted the wire into my breast while I was getting a mammogram, so we could see the disturbing image that had indicated something wrong. The biopsy revealed aggressive, malignant lobular carcinoma, not the normal ductal cancer in the piping system of the breast. This is lobular cancer, which forms in the milk-producing part of the breast. It never forms a lump. It grows with little fingers. So there's no lump for the surgeon to make a boundary around. And those fingers grew all the way to the edge of the rather large sample he removed from my breast. No clean margins for me. And the removed breast tissue had lobular cancer in situ running all through it. The doctor recommended a mastectomy as the gold standard, or a lumpectomy plus radiation as a second option. And he suggested I be a good candidate for a breast reconstruction. I got a second opinion from the Stanford Tumor Review Board, and they concurred. One complication: my insurance company would go bankrupt the following year, and we're already late paying bills. And most plastic surgeons had left the network. I asked the insurance company for every plastic surgeon in their network in Santa Clara County, and I called them one by one. One by one, they turned me down. Finally, the last name on the list, the doctor took my insurance, did breast reconstructions, and yes, I could make an appointment. But their next appointment was in 18 weeks. 18 weeks! Do you not understand that I have aggressive invasive carcinoma? I want it out. Sorry, that's our next opening. You don't have any time set aside for emergency appointments? No, we don't really do emergencies. Do you have a wait list for cancellations? No, we don't really get cancellations. I started to cry. You were my last hope. It was lunchtime. I remember putting food on the table, bringing food to my lips, chewing it and swallowing and tasting nothing. But before the meal ended, the phone rang. It was my last hope doctor's office. How fast can you get here? We just had a cancellation. This doctor laid out my options for breast reconstruction and suggested that the more pain I was willing to deal with up front, the better I would like the long-term solution. We settled on a tram flap reconstruction. I told my cancer surgeon that I now had a plastic surgeon and we would do a tram flap. He frowned. You're too young, too athletic to do a tram flap. If you do a tram flap, you'll never be able to do a sit-up again. Now I was confused. I needed to make a decision, and my doctors saw my best choice quite differently. A friend told me about BACC. I called the help desk. I'm planning a mastectomy and reconstruction. I want to talk to as many people as you can connect me with who have had a tram flap. I want to understand how athletic they can be after surgery. Can they do a sit-up? I want to also talk to some people who chose the expansion and implant route. BACC came through in spades. I think I talked to 25 different women. I asked each one, can you do a sit-up? One said, hold the phone, I haven't tried. Yep. Another said, good heavens, yes, I swim laps every day. People were warm and open and encouraging and helpful. By the time I talked to each woman on my list, I had absolute peace and confidence in that decision. Surgery and recovery went smoothly. My mom died about 9 months later. And about 3 months after that, I read about a writing group at BACC for cancer survivors. I'm a writer. I knew I needed to be in that group. I wrote with that group for 2 years, 2.5 hours a night, every other week. It was a powerful piece of my healing. If you'd seen me, you would have thought I was doing okay in the early year after my surgery, but the truth was I had stuffed my pain and loss and was soldiering on for the children. But in that writing group where everyone had faced death and the ground rules kept us all safe, we had these evocative writing prompts that encouraged us to go back to our points of pain, to go back to our losses. I wrote and wrote and wrote. I often wept as I wrote. I wrote not just about my cancer, but about losing my mom and walking away from my career. And after writing and sharing my words, I would get affirmed for their power, and I felt lifted and encouraged. After 2 years, someone said to me, "You're writing about much happier things lately." And I realized that I had processed my grief and my losses, and I had come out the other side. That's when I signed up to be a buddy at BACC. They had given me 2 huge gifts, and it was time for me to give back. People get lobular cancer, but I think I talked to just about every one of them. When the pandemic hit, I got a call from Judith, a helpliner who was checking in with volunteers. I told her that I was doing fine, that I was preparing a talk on resilience to help people get through the pandemic, and that it gave me purpose. I was using my skills in researching and communicating to help others get through this tough time. After that conversation, I started to get a different kind of referral for buddy calls. I got to talk with people who were worried about life after cancer, after treatment ended. It was life-giving to me to talk to them. I could say, you've been through some tough things. It will take some time for healing and grieving, but BACC gives you powerful tools to help you through it all. And on the other side, life is very sweet.
Given the personal nature of the questions one might have about Marcia's story, if you would like to connect with Marcia directly, we ask that you email our helpline at info@bayareacancer.org, and we will share your information with Marcia so she can reach out to you directly. Thank you.